Standard Renoir projects. Implementation phase. Compliance. To achieve understanding, compliance must first be established. During the compliance stage, we introduce the newly developed tools and solutions. Most people are largely unaware of why they will have to do it, and will likely be unable to operate using the revised processes. While classroom study and preparation are required to get them up and running, this stage is characterized by simply just doing it. The accompanying management style for this should be to direct the workforce to the work in the revised way. Supervisory training. Training the supervisors in the skills of effective supervision is a foundation step in the Renoir implementation process. Supervisors are taught the essentials of effective supervision as follows: shift schedules, assignment of tasks, short interval control and follow-up, variance management, action plans and action logs, and shift routines. The classroom training would typically take the form of an interactive PowerPoint training module delivered by a Renoir consultant or project task force member. The training should be interactive and essentially not boring. You can employ various techniques to fully engage the audience, including role play, examples, analysis of observations, lateral thinking, and interactive question and answer sessions. This is an example of a standard action log. Action logs are an integral tool used in every project to document and provide a permanent record of decisions and actions needed to close out or rectify variances in planned targets versus actual performance. Accountable persons and due dates are required. Begin using basic system elements. At first, the emphasis is very much about compliance. The intention is, with familiarity, practice and exposure, comes comfort and confidence. The supervisor is led and encouraged by the consultant to apply the process, at first in a purely mechanical way, to fully understand the details. This mechanical compliance is done in a field-based environment, with the objective of the supervisor developing the confidence and routine to apply the system. The consultant will support the supervisor in these early stages, with organizing the shift, understanding and populating the shift schedule, resource balancing and reasonable expectations, on-site follow-up and asking the correct questions, preparation for and attending meetings, organization of action log items, owners, and due dates, and shift handovers. Accompany the supervisor into the field. Ensure they are following the system elements. Remember, the learning is in the doing. The Renoir consultant or project task force will help the supervisor to apply the knowledge in real situations. This is not an engineered event. It is the real shift with real issues and real processes in real time, which is exactly why it is the most effective method. The intention here is to demonstrate how to identify and then respond to deviations from the plan. Show that pre-planning and effective use of SIC can stabilize a shift and prevent or predict failures, in turn ensuring a low-stress, positive outcome. Encourage and support in the face of adversity. Teach new ways to deal with unexpected issues. And highlight the benefits of a structured routine and process, and emphasize the subsequent increase in both visibility and predictability. Attend meetings. Ensure attendees are present and that the agenda is followed. The project consultants or task force will ensure that the supervisor is organized and equipped to participate effectively in meetings. This will include reviewed action logs, variance analysis, action plans to address variance, and ensuring that all meeting pre-preparation is conducted. Ensure that the meeting is scheduled with adequate notice within the shift routine. Coach and train the meeting chair in the skills of effective chairmanship. Actively coach during the meeting to ensure adequate and constructive participation and positive behaviors. Ensure that actions arising from the meeting are incorporated into the supervisor's operating plans. Conduct regular audits to ensure compliance. Compliance is demonstrated and measured through an independent audit of the new system. This audit will typically be conducted with full notification. It is not a secretive exercise. It is carried out by the project task force to emphasize this transparency. It is designed to assess each system element against the 4 stages of cultural change: compliance, understanding, usage, and culture. In the latter stages of implementation, the audit should be conducted by the area manager, or MAT member. Ultimately, it is the area manager who will benefit from a more effective system, and so it makes sense that the area manager should ensure his workforce have embraced the revised processes and new systems in place. This is a snapshot of a typical audit sheet, listing the installed and/or improved tools and elements. The audit, using a series of questions, establishes whether the workforce is merely complying, understanding, using, or have taken full ownership of the improvements. The scores for the audit are then collated and graphed against the targets for each of the change stages. Identification of problem areas within the MATs. The MAT must act as the engine of the project, vital in driving solution development and installation throughout the business. The MAT must show strong leadership in this area of change and make an unequivocal statement that optionality will not be tolerated. The idea is, follow the system and good things will happen. The scores for the audit are then collated and graphed against the targets for each of the change stages. Identification of problem areas within the MATs. The MAT must act as the engine of the project, vital in driving solution development and installation throughout the business. The MAT must show strong leadership in this area of change and make an unequivocal statement that optionality will not be tolerated. The idea is, follow the system and good things will happen. MAT review meetings are the ideal opportunity to highlight problem areas. This is important during the compliance phase of implementation. Non-compliance must be escalated accordingly from the operator up to the area manager. If not resolved, stubborn issues of non-compliance can be damaging and will inhibit progress. These issues must be dealt with swiftly and assertively by the MAT. If such issues are not dealt with promptly, then the inferred message is that change is optional, which is not the case. If everything has been done to ensure compliance, but the result is still not sustainable, then the solution may need to be re-examined or tweaked. Go through compliance audits with the MAT and Steering Committee. The review of the compliance audits with the MAT is perhaps the first opportunity for the area manager to gain an objective insight into the behaviour of their frontline managers. It is an opportunity for the MAT member to connect with the implementation process and become involved, and show their mettle as a leader of process and change. The compliance audits should be sufficiently specific and detailed for the MAT member to recognise the issue and behaviour described. The consultant will coach the relevant MAT member to develop and define a solution and promote intervention to curtail bad behaviour and address issues. Such compliance reviews should be considered a test of the MAT's resolve and commitment to change, as documented in the MAT Charter at the beginning of the project. If the MAT is not addressing issues for whatever reason, this should first be resolved within the project team. If this is unsuccessful, then the issue should be escalated to the steering committee. Identify any changes to basic audit elements needed. A review of compliance performance will identify a specific gap that requires attention. Work with the MAT members to identify a root cause. This is a great opportunity to coach the MAT in how to apply RCA principles, to identify and focus on a specific issue. Establish decisions and actions required to deal with issues. The review process by nature is designed to identify issues relating to or effectively causing non-compliance. The idea is then to address and eliminate these issues. As such, the audit process itself must be conducted against a set level of compliance. Individual audit components or elements will present themselves as either satisfactory or not. Firstly, address the substandard elements. Undertake root cause analysis if necessary to understand the underlying cause of the problem. Develop an action plan in line with the MAT members to address the cause of the problem. Monitor the effectiveness of the intervention in subsequent audit reviews. Adjust and improve the intervention as or when necessary. Identify any changes to basic audit elements required. A review of compliance performance will identify a specific gap that requires attention. Work with MAT members to identify a root cause. This is a great opportunity to coach the MAT in how to apply root cause analysis principles to identify and to focus on a specific issue. Once a root cause has been established, develop a strategy to address the problem. This may involve direct intervention type communication with the supervisor or area manager, an adjustment to the existing supervisory system, or a different coaching approach. The process of engaging the MAT in a meaningful way to solve their problems is invaluable. Auditing of system elements and processes by the project team for compliance. The auditing process is designed to provide an objective assessment of the progress of project initiatives. The audit is an integral part of the implementation process used to demonstrate sustainability. It is also used to make unbiased assessment and take corrective action early on in the implementation process. Audits are conducted initially by the project task force, and gradually the responsibility is taken over by the area manager. In this way, there is both objectivity and buy-in from the primary stakeholders. Audits will be conducted daily, or less frequently depending on the nature of the industry, process or implementation strategy, but certainly no less frequent than once per week. Evaluation of management report KPIs. The audit compliance score is plotted to show results by both the individual and the overall, or average. Each considers the audit element and the system element. In order to accurately evaluate the KPIs, we must understand and agree upon the key performance indicators. These will have been established as part of the project focus process. These KPIs will refer to operational metrics, typically both leading and lagging indicators, that describe the health of the business and the process. Typical indicators captured in the management report would be productivity, availability, or waste. The Renoir project will have originally committed to a target improvement, usually defined as a percentage and equating to a financial benefit. The MAT must be familiar with these performance numbers before they are reviewed in each MAT meeting. The intention is that performance will be analysed at two levels: by an individual metric to identify targeted solutions, and the overall system to identify system deficiencies and re-engineering needs. When looking at progress and defining improvement, trends should be strongly positive for an extended period of time. Typically, sample periods are as follows: a daily actual versus plan, a rolling weekly average, a rolling fortnightly average, a discrete monthly average, and a cumulative weekly average. Finance presents the initial evaluation. In the focus process phase of the project, we obtained a financial sign-off to endorse the logic and strategy for deriving the committed benefits. This is the final validation that the project has delivered on its commitments. As such, it is important that the financial representative, such as the CFO or equivalent, is included in all KPI and financial benefit discussions and calculations. Ideally, the calculation to convert physical output improvement will have been built in conjunction with or by the client finance team in the initiation phase of the project, and is therefore consistent with the initial analysis proposal. As such, the final validation should be just that there should be no contest to the methodology or the logic. The intention of finance presenting these numbers is to preserve the integrity of the process, and to avoid the perception that the project, or Renoir, may have manipulated the result in any way.